In the sweltering heat of late June, the Russian-annexed Crimea Peninsula, seized in 2014, shuddered under relentless combat. Kirovske Airbase, nestled among parched fields near Jankoy, served as Russia's logistical hub in the region. Under the dim glow of cold steel lampposts, Mi-8, Mi-26, and Mi-28 helicopters stood poised on the tarmac, their metal fuselages glinting in the night. Nearby, ammunition depots brimmed with rounds for two S-19 Musta-S self-propelled howitzers and BM-21 Grad rocket launchers, guarded tightly. Sleek Orlan-10 reconnaissance UAVs with fragile composite wings rested in steel containers ready for flight. Protecting it all was the Pantsir S-1 air defense system, its radar spinning ceaselessly, missile launchers aimed at the pitch-black sky. But on the night of June 27 into June 28, a Ukrainian storm of steel, orchestrated by the Security Service of Ukraine, SBU, turned Kirovske into a blazing inferno, shredding Russia's seemingly impregnable defenses. Kirovske Airbase was more than an airfield. It symbolized Russian dominance in Crimea. Strategically positioned less than 62 miles from Ukraine's front lines, it was the nerve center for air and logistical operations in southern Ukraine. The Mi-26, the world's largest heavy-lift helicopter, could ferry 80 troops or 22 tons of equipment, forming the backbone of force deployments. The Mi-28, armed with Ataka anti-tank missiles and a 30mm cannon, was a lethal ground attack weapon. The versatile Mi-8 handled everything from troop transport to fire support. The Pantsir S-1, with its 1RS-2E radar and 57E-6 missiles, shielded the skies from UAVs, missiles, and low-flying aircraft, making Kirovske a fortified stronghold. Ukraine's strike on Kirovske aimed to cripple Russia's transport, attack, and defense capabilities, disrupting its military supply chain. The attack was not just a material blow, but a psychological one, signaling that no Russian stronghold in Crimea was safe, boosting morale for Ukraine's troops and civilians in their grueling war. To execute the strike, the SBU meticulously planned the deployment of 30 drones, including 20 FPV UAVs and 10 Bulava kamikaze drones. Each FPV drone, weighing 4.4 pounds, carried an RPG-7 anti-tank warhead, 37 inches long, weighing 3.3 pounds, with the explosive power of 3.3 pounds of TNT, capable of piercing 7.9 inches of steel. The 10 Bulava drones, weighing 9.9 pounds, carried 4.4-pound improvised warheads equivalent to 4.4 pounds of TNT, designed to hit fortified targets like air defenses. To cover the 62-mile distance from mainland Ukraine to Crimea, the SBU planned to deploy 5 Magura V-5 unmanned surface vessels, USVs, in the Black Sea. Each USV, 18 feet long, weighing 2,200 pounds, with a top speed of 48 miles per hour, carried 6 drones, launched from 12.4 miles off Crimea's coast. Painted sea gray to blend with the waves, the USVs moved silently in the dark, with near-silent electric motors, evading Russian naval radars. In a bunker 16.4 feet underground, hidden beneath dense forests near Kherson's coast, Ukrainian technicians worked through the night. The bunker, with 20-inch thick concrete walls and a steel roof, was camouflaged with branches and netting. 20 FPV drones built on DJI Mavic 3 frames were meticulously assembled. Each carried a 720p 60 fps FPV camera, transmitting via 5.8 GHz for stable control within a 25-mile radius. RPG-7 warheads were mounted with stainless steel brackets reinforced by 1,100-pound test nylon straps. Electronic detonators, triggered by a 12V pulse, were tested for instant activation on impact. The 10 Bulava drones, with lightweight composite frames, featured AI modules with autonomous navigation algorithms to dodge jamming within a 1.2-mile radius. Each drone underwent 3 tests: a 33-foot altitude flight at 50 miles per hour through simulated obstacles, a detonation test in an open field, and an FPV signal test under simulated electronic interference. Satellite intelligence from Western allies, combined with local resistance reports from Jankoy, pinpointed Kirovske's main defenses: the Pantsir S-1, 3 helicopters, Mi-8, Mi-26, Mi-28, and an ammunition depot. The attack was timed from 1:30 a.m. to 3:02 a.m., exploiting darkness when Russian radars were less effective and patrols were fatigued after night shifts. Drone installation onto USVs took place in a covert workshop near Kherson's port under SBU technical supervision. Each USV had a 6.6-foot composite launch platform, securing 6 drones with steel clamps and 1,100-pound test nylon straps. FPV drones on DJI Mavic 3 frames were stowed with 720p cameras facing downward for pre-launch checks. Bulava drones with composite frames were secured with electromagnetic locks for precise release. Each USV had a 4.9 GHz encrypted remote control system and lithium-ion batteries for 6 hours of operation. Technicians tested FPV signal connections, mount durability, and 12V electronic detonators. A simulated launch test with USVs releasing drones in Force 3C conditions ensured stable takeoff at 12.4 miles per hour. The USVs deployed from a secret point 6.2 miles off Kherson's coast at 10 p.m. on June 27. 5 sea gray USVs, blending with the waves, followed a calculated route from Kherson's coast through the Perekop Isthmus, around Cape Tarkankut, to a launch point 12.4 miles off Crimea. The 75-mile route was programmed to avoid Russian naval patrols and coastal radars. Each USV, equipped with military GPS and infrared sensors, cruised at 25 miles per hour, skimming the sea with faint ripples under moonlight. 2 SBU technicians from an underground command post 9.3 miles from Kherson monitored the journey via encrypted military tablets. A Bayraktar TB2 UAV, flying at 16,400 feet, provided real-time data on Russian ship positions, ensuring the USVs remained undetected. By 1 a.m. on June 28, the 5 USVs anchored 12.4 miles off Crimea. Each released 6 drones in sequence: 2 decoy drones, 2 targeting the Pantsir S-1, and 2 attacking helicopters or the depot. Composite launch platforms, controlled by servo motors, tilted to 30 degrees, releasing drones at 12.4 miles per hour. FPV drones launched first, their electric motors emitting a faint whine blending with sea waves. Bulava drones, heavier, followed, with AI-activated GPS guiding them to preset coordinates. The coordinated strike was precise. Decoys flew first to draw radar attention. Panzer S-1 attackers followed 5 minutes later, and helicopter and depot attackers waited another 5 minutes to exploit the air defense gap. 3 FPV pilots from a bunker 18.6 miles from Kherson controlled 20 FPV drones via goggles, while 10 Bulava drones operated autonomously, with AI adjusting paths to avoid jamming. Kirovske Airbase was guarded by advanced air defenses centered on a single Panzer S-1. Valued at $14 million, it combined 12 57E6 missiles with a 12.4-mile range and 2 30mm cannons firing 5,000 rounds per minute, detecting targets at 12.4 miles and engaging from 49 feet to 9.3 miles altitude. The 1RS-21E radar scanned 360 degrees, paired with a Quant-1M jammer, disrupting UAV signals within 3.1 miles. A Russian patrol team of 12 soldiers with AK-12 rifles, infrared optics, and 2 BTR-80 armored vehicles secured a 1.2-mile perimeter. Russian technicians in a command center monitored radar screens 24/7, ready to activate the Panzer S-1 at any threat. But the simultaneous attack by 30 drones from 3 directions, north, west, and south, overwhelmed the system, giving Ukraine an opening. The attack began at 1:30 a.m. on June 28 under Crimea's Dark Vale. From 5 Magura V5 USVs anchored 12.4 miles offshore in the Black Sea, 30 drones launched in 3 groups, 10 decoys, 10 targeting the Panzer S-1, and 10 hitting helicopters and the depot. The decoy group, with 8 FPV and 2 Bulava drones, flew at 164 feet and 37 miles per hour, emitting fake 2.4 GHz signals to fool the 1RS-21E radar. Circling 1.9 miles north of the airbase, they drew fire from the Panzer S-1's 30mm cannons and 4 57E6 missiles. From 1:30 a.m. to 1:40 a.m., the Panzer S-1 downed 6 decoy drones, their explosions lighting the sky, debris raining on barren fields. The 30mm cannons thundered, shattering the silence, but the focus on decoys distracted Russian radar, opening a window for the main assault. At 1:40 a.m., a group of 10 drones, 5 FPV and 5 Bulava, swooped on the Panzer S-1, positioned at the airbase's western edge near a 9.8-foot barbed wire fence. Flying at 16.4 feet, they skimmed dry bushes and rough terrain, using darkness to evade radar. A Bulava drone, carrying a 4.4-pound warhead, was guided by an FPV pilot from a bunker 18.6 miles away, viewing the Panzer S-1's spinning radar through FPV goggles under airbase lights. The pilot, a 26-year-old former software engineer, focused intensely, adjusting the drone's angle and accelerating to 50 miles per hour. The screen shook slightly from crosswinds, but the image stayed sharp, showing the radar's metallic gleam. At 1:42 a.m., the drone struck the 1RS-21E radar, detonating its warhead, equivalent to 4.4 pounds of TNT. The radar shattered, metal fragments scattering 65.6 feet, tangling in nearby bushes. A 32.8-foot fireball blinded the Panzer S-1. 10 seconds later, another FPV drone, carrying an RPG-7 warhead, hit the Panzer S-1's control compartment. The FPV pilot saw Russian technicians scrambling to activate backup systems. The drone dove at a 45-degree angle at 53 miles per hour, striking the compartment. The second explosion, equivalent to 3.3 pounds of TNT, tore through 0.2-inch steel, creating a 16.4-foot fireball. Russian technicians in Kevlar vests fled as black smoke rose 65.6 feet. 3 remaining drones, 2 FPV and 1 Bulava, hit the Panzer S-1's missile storage, 32.8 feet from the control compartment. Each carried 3.3 to 4.4 pound warheads, detonating in sequence, destroying the 57 E-6 missile stock. Secondary explosions incinerated the Panzer S-1 by 1:45 a.m., leaving a smoldering heap and thick smoke obscuring the sky. With the Panzer S-1 neutralized, Kirovske's air defenses collapsed. The remaining 10 drones, 7 FPV and 3 Bulava, targeted the helicopter tarmac and ammunition depot. At 1:50 a.m., a Bulava drone struck an M26 parked at the tarmac's eastern corner, 164 feet from the depot. The massive 131-foot-long transport helicopter with a 105-foot main rotor was a clear target through FPV cameras. The pilot, from a bunker, flew the drone at 16.4 feet, clearing a barbed wire fence, aiming for the engine. The FPV screen showed the M26's green-painted fuselage gleaming under Airbase lights. At 1:51 a.m., the drone hit the engine, detonating a 4.4-pound warhead. The explosion tore through 0.4-inch steel, shattering cockpit glass and destroying the rotor. A 49.2-foot fireball consumed the $20 to $25 million helicopter. Debris scattered 98.4 feet, catching in perimeter netting as black smoke enveloped the area. 10 seconds later, an FPV drone hit an Mi-28, parked 65.6 feet from the Mi-26. The attack helicopter, with 0.3-inch tail armor, was a tougher target. The FPV pilot, via goggles, saw the auxiliary rotor and Ataka missile tubes. The drone flew at 23 feet and 50 miles per hour, targeting the tail to avoid thicker frontal armor. At 1:51:30 a.m., the RPG-7 warhead detonated, piercing the armor, creating a 19.7-foot fireball. The blast shook the ground, destroying electronics and the weapons bay, reducing the $15 to $20 million Mi-28 to charred wreckage. Russian soldiers in combat gear fled as debris flew. At 1:52 a.m., another Bulava drone struck an Mi-8 parked near a 16.4-foot watchtower at the tarmac's edge. The multi-role helicopter, with a gray fuselage and frosted windows, was the final helicopter target. The drone, carrying a 4.4-pound warhead, dove at a 30-degree angle, targeting the engine. The FPV screen showed the Russian logo glinting under lights. The explosion, equivalent to 4.4 pounds of TNT, ripped through the engine, igniting the 500-gallon fuel tank. A 65.6-foot fireball incinerated the interior, reducing the $10 to $15 million Mi-8 to scrap. Smoke rose 164 feet, visible from nearby villages, alerting civilians and Russian forces. Finally, 5 drones, 3 FPV and 2 Bulava, targeted the ammunition depot 328 feet west of the tarmac. The depot, housing rounds for 2 S-19 Mosta-S howitzers and BM-21 Grad rockets, was protected by 11.8-inch concrete walls. At 2 a.m., a Bulava drone hit the roof, its 4.4-pound warhead blasting a 3.3-foot hole. The explosion triggered secondary blasts equivalent to 110 pounds of TNT, shaking Kirovske. Flames spread, destroying a storage area with at least 5 Orlan-10 drones, each worth $50,000. The remaining 4 drones hit other depot sections, detonating fuel and artillery rounds. The explosions, lasting until 3:02 a.m., created a firestorm, with 328-foot smoke plumes recorded by the Crimean Wind Monitoring Group. In the Russian command center, 656 feet from the tarmac, officers panicked. Radar screens went dark after the Pantsir S-1 was destroyed, and continuous explosions rocked the concrete room. An officer shouted over the radio for support from Jankoy, but communications failed due to overloaded jammers. An Orlan-10 UAV, deployed at 3:15 a.m., flew over the site, beaming back images of Kirovske engulfed in flames, with 3 helicopters and the Pantsir S-1 destroyed. A Russian patrol team of 15 soldiers and 2 BTR-80s sealed the area. But Ukrainian special forces withdrew safely via 3.1-mile forest trails, shielded by dense woods and frequency jammers. The result was a devastating Russian loss. 3 helicopters were destroyed, an Mi-8 $10 to $15 million, an Mi-26 $20 to $25 million, and an Mi-28 $15 to $20 million. Totaling $45 to $60 million. The Pantsir S-1, worth $14 to $15 million, was neutralized. The ammunition depot and UAV storage, including at least 5 Orlan-10s, $250,000, were incinerated. Total damage was estimated at $60 to $75 million, excluding infrastructure. NASA firms and Dnipro Harbu satellite imagery confirmed fires burning into June 28 morning. Russia's defense ministry reported downing over 40 drones over Crimea, omitting specific losses. The Kirovske attack showcased Ukraine's ingenuity. With 30 drones costing under $50,000, they inflicted tens of millions in damage, disrupting Russian air and defense operations. The strike was not just a material blow, but a psychological victory, reinforcing Ukraine's ability to challenge Russia with cunning and courage. If this analysis gripped you, hit like, share your thoughts in the comments, and subscribe for more thrilling battlefield stories.